To all the men who think they're not part of the problem, to the men who get offended by being called trash, to the men who think women are busy overreacting, and most importantly to the men who care about this issue but don't know what they can do. When you say you're not part of the issue, all it shows is that you don't fully understand some of the biggest problems we're facing as a society today, especially in an environment such as an all-boys school, which are toxic masculinity and rape culture. These terms aren't just terms made up by radical feminists to call men pigs. And the fact that so many people deny that they even exist or that they're prevalent in our society shows how much of an issue we have on our hands. I myself am no expert in this field. I don't know that much about these things, but from doing a little bit of research, I can at least understand them to a basic degree. And I think that's what most of the men in our society are lacking, and that's why I want to make this video. Just to explain rape culture and toxic masculinity to people, so that they can identify it as an issue that they have, and so they can work on fixing it. So what is rape culture? I think the fact that most people believe rape culture is a society that accepts rape and promotes rape is ridiculous. That is honestly what a lot of people think rape culture is. But rape culture is so much more intertwined with our society than you think. It starts with things such as sexist jokes, jokes about rape, and then it escalates. It escalates from that to catcalling, where when people laughed at your sexist joke and found it funny, you think it's fine to catcall a woman because that's also just a joke, right? And if your sexist joke was acceptable at school, then your sexist joke of catcalling should also be acceptable. And then when you go to a party and you see an attractive girl and you slap a bum, you think that's acceptable because that's just a joke. People laugh about it. It's just a joke that you're making, and the other sexist jokes you made were acceptable, so surely this is as well. But that has escalated all from a joke to sexual harassment without you even realizing. I'm sure that if you ask all of these men that are taking part in this rape culture if they would ever sexually harass a woman, they would all say, definitely not. It's unacceptable, right? But then they would go and do it without even thinking about it, without even realizing it. It can escalate so much to the point where you force yourself onto a woman, where you think her body is just a joke. You think her body is just something that you can claim as a man. It's just property that you own. Because it's all just a joke, right? But it's escalated. It's escalated from a joke. From a joke to catcalling. That's degrading women. From degrading women to sexual harassment. From that, it goes to rape. These aren't the only instances that happen. There are other things that happen as well. Things that get called banter. Things that get called, or rather explained as boys just being boys. But that's unacceptable. When you look at a woman and she's wearing provocative clothes and you try and justify rape because of what she was wearing, that is part of rape culture. You can't feed into this kind of culture. And sadly, the only way to stop that culture is to stand up and say something. And I know it's scary to do that, but you have to do it. But this also leads into the second issue I brought up of toxic masculinity. Myself coming from a boys' school, I can attest to the kind of toxicity I experience on a daily basis. I've experienced female speakers come in and share their stories of rape, serious stories of sexual violence, where they tell us the way to change this is to stand up and not make sexist jokes, not feed into rape culture. And as soon as I walk out of that hall, I hear someone make a sexist joke. They say, "Oh wow, that speaker was hot." You try and react to this, but they just take the piss further. They try and get more of a reaction out of you. It just feeds more into this toxicity. Just today at school, I was wearing black nail polish to protest this toxicity, to protest violence against the opposite gender, violence against women. And when greeted by someone, they saw my nail polish and they said, "Oh, sis, are you gay?" The only reason people took me seriously was because I showed aggression and I started shouting at this person. I'm pretty sure if that didn't happen, and if I didn't show that kind of disapproval, people would have joined in and people would have made fun of it. Even in this extremely horrible time we're in, even when there's such an important cause behind it, people will still try and take the piss. A few weeks ago, before so many people were realizing how bad these jokes were, I was with a group of friends and they made a sexist joke or remark. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I stood up and I said, "Guys, you can't be laughing at that. You can't be making jokes like that." And all I was met with was a synchronized chant of "wanker, wanker." That's what I was met with. Now, I'm confident in my own opinion, and I know that I was doing the right thing. But to the people who witnessed that, who have the same opinion as me, but aren't as confident in it, aren't going to go up and speak what they believe in fear of getting ridiculed by others. That's the toxic masculinity I'm talking about. How can we expect to stop rape and violence against women when we ourselves, as educated people, are feeding into this rape culture and making it worse with toxic masculinity? Like I said, the only way to stop rape culture is to stand up and say something. Speak what you believe in. To the men who don't know what they can do, but are wanting to support the women in their lives, don't accept this kind of behavior, whether at school, with your best friends, or someone you don't know at all. If you hear this kind of behavior, call them out on it, please. And to the people who are now realizing they might be part of the problem and realizing only now that they are part of this trash and wanting to change it, the first step of recovering and changing a behavior is accepting that imperfection in yourself. And once you can accept that, then you can start working on it. But before you accept that behavior, obviously you're going to be offended by this hashtag of "men are trash." You're going to be offended when people say you are part of the problem because you don't believe it, but it's because you aren't accepting the fact that you are part of the problem. And anyone who truly isn't part of the problem, who stands up for what they believe in and speak their mind and has never fed into the misogynistic kind of environment our society has for men, then you can exclude yourself from that group of men who are trash. But if you're truly such a respectable man, then you shouldn't be offended by a simple hashtag. You should be standing behind the woman in your life and calling out other men. If you're truly such a great man, then why does such a simple thing as a hashtag cause you to not back something so important anymore? So please, if you still don't believe you are the part of the problem, and you don't believe you are trash, please just consider what I've said in this video. And if you want any more information on rape culture or toxicity, especially toxic masculinity, feel free to message me or come and speak to me in person. I'm more than willing to share any other knowledge I have on the topic with you. And I believe it's really, really important and it shouldn't be ignored. Thank you.